Hey everyone, I'm Danny Parra with the American Red Cross. I'm part of the communications team here, which means I am not a medical expert, but I still get a lot of questions about blood donation. And luckily, we have some of our great medical experts here today to talk about some of the answers to those questions that we usually get. And joining me today is Dr. Stephen Baker, Division Chief Medical Officer here at the American Red Cross. So, Dr. Baker, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Danny, it's good to be here. Thank you for having us on. We're happy to answer the questions that you have about blood donation. Excited to be here.
Most people know the term blood types, but they may not know why blood types are so important. So, Dr. Baker, can you just kind of tell us about blood types and where they come from?
So it's really important when we're taking blood from one person and transfusing it into another person that we match their blood type. In essence, the blood type is determined by the presence of antigens that are present on the cell surface. So your blood is made up of the liquid part, which we call plasma, and the cells inside your blood, which come in the form of red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So on the surface, particularly of the red blood cells, there are two antigens called A and B. And whether you have either of those antigens or both determines your blood group. So if you have the A antigen, you're group A. If you have the B antigen, you're group B. If you have both, you're group AB. And if you have neither, then you're group O. In addition to the ABO blood group, there's also a protein that is present on the red blood cell surface called the Rh factor, formerly called Rhd. And if you have that protein, then we call you Rh positive. But if you lack that protein, then you're called Rh negative. So you put together those four major blood groups along with the presence or absence of that Rhd protein, and that gives you your 8 major blood types. So A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, AB positive, AB negative, O positive, O negative. And it's very important that we transfuse certain blood types into the recipient that would be compatible from that donor to that recipient.
So, is there such thing as a universal blood type at all?
So in a way, yes. And what we mean when we talk about a universal blood type is a type where the red blood cells are safe to transfuse to any patient. And yet generally what we're referring to is blood group O. And that's because blood group O doesn't have either the A or B antigen on the red blood cell surface. And so we can use it to transfuse to anybody because it's the absence of those antigens.
And on the other hand, is there like a universal recipient when it comes to blood types?
Yeah, in that sense, there is. So if you think about blood group O as lacking the A and B antigens, blood group AB has both A and B antigens. And so they would recognize those as self. And so if your blood group is AB, that means you can receive blood from A people because you also have the A antigen. You could receive it from people who type as B because you also have the B antigen. Or you could receive it from people who are blood group O who lack both antigens. And so blood group AB people are the universal recipient.
And of course, as you know, Dr. Baker, trauma situations tend to be some of the most frequent times when blood transfusions are necessary. So in an emergency, what are the blood types that hospitals need most, and why are those blood types so necessary?
Yeah. And so when you don't know somebody's blood type, what you're initially trying to do to use the blood most wisely is to match the blood type of the donor to the blood type of the recipient. But you can imagine in a trauma situation, somebody could show up to the hospital and you need to transfuse them urgently, but you don't have time to take their blood type. And so in those cases, it's generally safe to give O blood to patients who have experienced accidents or experienced trauma and they need blood urgently. And in particular, for all patients, you can always use O negative, although we prefer to supply O negative to patients with childbearing potential because there are other consequences of receiving O positive blood in that patient group.
And since O negative is so sought after, it seems like it's also pretty much not only in high demand, but short supply too.
That is an unfortunate reality. And so we are so grateful to our O negative blood donors because they comprise a small sector of the donor population. Only about 7% of people in the United States have O negative blood. But yet, because we can use it for all patients, generally we collect and then also supply to hospitals O negative blood at a higher percentage than is present in the population. And so we rely heavily on O negative blood when we don't know the patient's blood type. And so it is certainly something that is in high demand.
Well, Dr. Baker, we learned so much about blood types in our conversation. If you'd like to learn more about blood types, head on over to redcrossblood.org.